So now we're going to explain the second half of after our heat exchanger. Our heat exchanger is actually making this water warm, and here we have two pumps. They're redundant, so if one fails, we have another one. You really want redundancy, especially on heating systems, because if one fails, then you have a backup, which is always a good thing. In our loop, we have flow switches, we have pumps, we have strainers that keep the water clean. If there's any dirt, it'll fill up in a strainer inside here. And you can see our piping going around, and it heads two directions. It heads through the wall, and then it also comes over, branches off, and comes to this unit here, which is an air handler. Air handler either brings in outside air, which is coming from here, and then goes into a filter rack, or we have return air from another part of the building, and we just bring that air back if we don't need outside air for additional cooling. We have a filter rack here. It goes through. This is a cooling coil, and here's our heating coil that comes into our unit right here, and then we take the air and it goes into the other room for heating. So here we're controlling our heating by a balancing valve and a control valve. The control valve here gets a signal from the thermostat basically telling how far we're going to open or close this valve, all depending how much heat we need. So if we're bringing in outside air and we only need a little bit of heat, this will be barely open. It'll go through our coil. As the air passes through it, it warms up the air. Normally in a building, you want roughly 55-degree air, and that way it balances it out. If it's colder outside, you're going to have to heat it up. If it's warmer than that, you're going to start using air conditioning. So 55 degrees is the breaking point, kind of. So we talked about our balancing valve. We talked about our control valve here. So this is our hot water loop here, and that comes back to our heat exchanger, and it picks up heat through the boiler, through the heat exchanger. Then we have another set that branches off, goes into the other side, which we have VAV boxes. Our VAV boxes are normally up inside the ceiling, and you don't see these. And what these do, we can warm up air if we need to, because we still have a control valve here, and here's our heating loop coming to each one of these. We have water in it and water out. If this valve opens up, we're sending heat through here, and that fan turns on, and it brings heat across and out into the room. If we don't need any heat, the valve closes, and we just have our air coming through the ductwork. So that's basically how these work, simplified, and we'll get much further into VAV boxes when we cover the whole VAV box, but this is how the heating loop works.